If you've never made soap before, I am so excited to share with you how we make soap here on our farm. And it is such an easy process, and it is so good for your skin. I'm really excited you guys are gonna follow along with me. There's a full supplies list down in the description, and we'll have lots of step-by-step instructions on the screen as we go. The very first thing we're gonna do when making soap is mix up our oils that we're gonna use. Soap is comprised of lye, which is a caustic substance. You've probably used it before. It's drain cleaner. But when you combine it with fats or oils, it saponifies the oils and turns them into soap. For our project today, we're going to be using some Meishan pork lard that I canned a couple weeks ago and coconut oil. When making soap, it's important to weigh out all of your ingredients using a scale. This ensures that your soap turns into soap and not an oily bar of fat or a bar that is lye heavy and can cause burns. For weighing out my oils, I use a scale that measures to the nearest gram. Now that we've got our oils weighed out, let's get these melted. We need our oils to hit at least 100 degrees. Now we don't want to go crazy with it though. We want it to be between 100 degrees and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Hotter than that, you're going to start to get weird smells. Our goal here is to hit at least 100, maybe 102. So we're going to do that in short bursts in the microwave. While that's melting in the microwave, we're going to babysit it and stir it every once in a while. Once it's fully melted though, it's time to break out the thermometer so we can make sure we're monitoring that temperature really closely. Right now our mixture is almost fully melted. The chunks are pretty much gone, but it's still a really opaque white. It's gonna go clear if we keep melting. All right, while we're waiting on that, let's talk safety. Lye is one of our main ingredients for saponification in soap. So it is a really caustic substance, and we need to make sure that we are protected. You'll notice I have my long sleeve shirt on. That's gonna protect my arms. We also need to wear either goggles or some sort of a face shield. These are so important to protect your eyes. Please do not try soap making without having some sort of protection on your eyes. I personally like the face shield more just because I found with the goggles, they were fogging up and then it's hard to see what you're doing. We also are gonna have gloves to keep our skin safe. If you're working in an area where it's closed, make sure you have good ventilation or open a window or something. You also want to make sure that you have pants on, shoes on, keep yourself covered. This stuff is really dangerous if it gets on your skin. It burns very badly. Ask me how I know. Please, please take proper safety precautions. We are at 98 degrees now, so we're super close. Almost time for us to get our safety gear on, and we're gonna start measuring out our lye and either milk or water. All right, we made it. And you'll notice, instead of an opaque white, it's more of a translucent yellow color now. This is pork lard, and so it still has a little bit of that opacity to it. But if you're using other oils like coconut oil, vegetable oils, olive oil, castor oil, things like that, they do tend to go totally translucent. So just be aware that different oils do behave a little bit differently. Let's get our gear on. So one thing I want to make sure you always have on hand whenever you're working with lye and doing soap like this is always have a bottle of vinegar handy. Vinegar is an acid and lye is a base. And so when these two meet, they neutralize each other. So this is really good to have just in case you were to have an accident or an emergency. You want to be able to neutralize that lye very quickly. So keep that close, just in case we need it. All right, we're going to measure out our lye so that we have it ready to go. I bought one of these really small scales on Amazon because it has 2 decimal points. Most scales might just round to the nearest gram or 1/10 of a gram. This one goes to 1/100th of a gram. Now when you're doing soap, it's important to be pretty precise. If you have too much lye, you're gonna have lye left over in your soap, and instead of having a nice, clean, moisturizing, soothing skin soap, you're gonna end up with something that burns you every time you use it. So please, please get a good scale. Make sure you are being pretty precise with these measurements. All right, the next thing we're gonna need is our goat milk. You're welcome to use water in your soap making if you want, but goat milk we found is so nice on your skin. We won't ever go back to doing water in our soaps. So when combining your milk and lye, it is really important that you're doing it in a proper container. So get a nice cheap plastic container, find one with a lid. That way whenever you're done using it, you can just pop that lid back on and set it to the side to do dishes later. And then there's no risk that you're gonna have some lye batter sitting out in the open where it could be dangerous. So I like to do a majority of my milk amount in ice cubes. So I've pre-frozen this goat milk a couple weeks ago. And then I will make up for whatever is left over with the liquid milk. This just helps keep that temperature down. Whenever the lye and the milk combine, in fact, whenever lye combines with any liquid, it's gonna get super hot, super fast. So by using ice cubes, it's gonna help us keep that temperature a little bit lower. Our goal is for our lye milk solution and our oils to both be right around 100 degrees when we mix them. Okay, now here's something super important. I know you already have a container ready with your milk and your lye is already in a separate container, but this is important safety info, so listen up. Lye should always be placed into your liquid and never the other way around. If you put liquid into a container of lye, you risk having a really crazy lye explosion and it could be very dangerous. So please use caution. Now we're gonna start pouring our lye into our milk. We're gonna stir it as we go and do small amounts. We're not gonna pour the whole thing on at once. As the lye comes into contact with the milk, it is rapidly heating up, which causes those frozen cubes of milk to melt. It also releases some fumes, so be sure that you don't have your face directly over the container. We want to keep stirring until all of the lye has dissolved and all of the frozen milk has melted. All right, that's ready to go. Since this is a single color soap that we're making, I'm gonna go ahead and add my fragrance and my colors to our oils before we mix the lye in and make everything start working. So for this, we're making a lavender soap, and so I want it to be a really nice purple color, and it obviously needs to smell like lavender. So the first thing we're gonna do is add our lavender fragrance oil. This stuff smells amazing, you guys, you have no idea. And every time that you wash your hands with this stuff, that smell comes out again. I just love this bar. It's probably my favorite one. All right, and then we're gonna add our colorants. So there are tons of options out there for colors, or you could always leave your bars plain. They're gonna be a beautiful white color if you just leave them plain. We work really hard to keep all of our soaps here at the farm all natural. And so all of our colorants are gonna be natural colorants. So this is Indigo Powder. It's made from flowers. Whoops. This is real life, you guys. All right, we're gonna add indigo powder. We're gonna add our madder root powder. Comes from a root. All right. And we're gonna use our immersion blender to go ahead and mix that up. So make sure you're checking for any little pockets of powder, especially if you made a big mess on the side like I did. You want to make sure it's all incorporated into the oils before we start mixing. Here is another important thing about soap making. Whenever you're soap making and you're trying to add colors, it's just going to be trial and error. The color you see in this container right now is not the color your soap's going to be, especially after it's cured. So just do some experiments till you find the color that you like. All right, now it's time for us to add our milk and our lye. I like to keep my stick blender in the bowl because it operates as sort of a stop so that the water won't, or the oils won't potentially splash back at me. So let's pour it really nice and slowly. All right, and now we blend. The goal of blending the lye milk mixture into the oils is to make sure that all of the ingredients are evenly distributed.
If we have pockets of lye or oils, the finished soap will still have those same pockets of concentrated oil or lye, which will ruin our soap bars. When you first pour in the lye, there will be a sheen on the top layer of the mixture. We need to keep blending until that shiny surface is fully incorporated into the soap batter and is no longer visible.
All right, that looks really good. So I'm gonna give it one little stir just by hand to make sure there's no pockets of anything sitting anywhere in the bowl. But this looks great. Last step is we're gonna pour it into our mold.
As a reminder, the current color of your soap batter as it's poured into the mold is not necessarily what the finished soap will look like. In general, soaps will get lighter in color as they saponify. While this soap is a dark purple currently, it will dry as a much lighter neutral or pale purple.
All right, now you're welcome to just leave this plain if you want, but I'm gonna add a few lavender buds just as decoration on the side. Don't go crazy with it. A little bit goes a long way when it comes to decoration for soaps. That's it for now. I'm gonna go put this soap where it can dry for about a day. I like to keep a fan on it while it's drying just because the lye that's in this is gonna continue to heat up while it's saponifying, and I don't want it to get too out of hand with the temperature. It can cause some weird color distortions if you aren't careful. So I'm gonna go set this in my drying rack with the fan, and then I'll be back. All right, now that our soap is off drying, it's time to clean up. Now, I was once told a really great tip as far as cleaning up after you're making soap, and that is this bowl had your soap batter in it. And you know what? It's a little bit of a pain to clean because right now it is covered in oils and it's really hard to get off. But if you have a safe place to put this bowl where you're not worried about another person, especially your kids getting into it, if you give it a day, that's gonna turn into soap. And you know what's easy to clean? Soap. So I'm gonna go set this off on my counter way back in the corner where it's safe to leave it for another day to clean. Once all of your lye ingredients have been moved off to a safe place, feel free to get rid of your eye protection, but let's hang on to the gloves for now until we have everything cleaned off. All right, now that we're all cleaned up, I wanted to share what to do next with you guys. After about 24 to 48 hours, that soap's gonna be ready to come out of the mold, and then we'll go ahead and cut it into slices. After that, soap is a long process cure, and so you need to make sure you've allotted about 6 weeks for your soap to cure before you're ready to use it or give it away, whatever you're planning to do with your soap. But this is soap that I made about 2 months ago, so it's fully cured now. This is the same lavender recipe, and it is so pretty, you guys. And it smells so good. You have no idea. I love this soap so much. This is the one that I'm using in my bathrooms and my shower most of the time because I just love the scent of lavender. It's so nice on your skin. It smells great literally every time you use it. And it has that beautiful purple color. It really makes a good gift. I've given these away for Christmas just recently. But honestly, this is my favorite flavor. And so most of these we keep at home for me to use. If you watched this step-by-step tutorial and thought it was a little bit overwhelming or you just don't have time to deal with all of that, we do also sell our pork lard soaps on our farm page. If you take a look in the description below, we've got a link straight to our farm store. We have both lard soaps, which is my favorite, and we also have soaps made with just an oil mixture. So check them out, see if you want anything. As a reminder, anytime you're supporting our farm, you're helping bring back an endangered breed of pigs. We are still working on the conservation of a critically endangered pig breed called the Meishan. They have been around for over 5,000 years and have some of the most amazing meat and lard qualities, but sadly they're a critically endangered breed, and so we're working hard to bring the breed back. So if you would like to help out in bringing back this breed, there are so many easy ways to help. Just by liking, subscribing, or commenting on any of our videos, that really helps get the word out about how great these pigs are and helps our farm have a broader reach so that we can show more people about our awesome pigs. Thanks so much for watching.